What they often don't perceive is that they see that they have to get the given band score. I mean, like maybe 6.57 for a master's, for example. Because most of the students we have here are aiming to do a master's, although we have a few who want to get go on a foundation course, for example. They don't realise IELTS actually develops the lecture skills as well. And I've had to explain on numerous occasions, for example, the reason why in IELTS people will hear a recording once is that when you're in a lecture theatre with maybe 50, 60 people, for example,
you hear the lecture once.
You only hear it once, and you can't put your hand up and say, "Excuse me, can you say that again?"
Yeah.
So, for example, contrasting IELTS with CAE or FCE, where you hear the recording twice. The first thing I outline for students when they're doing an IELTS course is that it is very, very much goal-orientated. I mean, someone studies IELTS because they want to go to university. It does develop academic skills, but it doesn't develop, for example, the general English vocabulary like CAE might, or like CAE does, or FCE. But if someone is aiming, for example, at developing written English, sometimes in terms of structuring a written text, it will develop essay writing skills or general document writing skills in a better way, certainly, than FCE does, because FCE will teach you more about register, for example, formal, semi-formal, informal, as you know. But IELTS will teach you argument-led writing approach, a for or against essay, the thesis-led writing approach, structuring a paragraph.
It works.
Well, obviously, for a lot of students, they may not actually perceive that they're doing this, but they'll pick up, for example, like I have a reading class this afternoon. They'll pick up, okay, when you're looking at a paragraph, pick out the topic sentence. And then you, for example, how to deal with the text. And I've tried to teach them that even though sometimes they think this particular text we're looking at is of little relevance to their particular area of interest, these skills are transferable to general English reading skills as well. And obviously in the school here, the way we're structured, one teacher will teach reading with one class, for example. Another teacher will teach writing. But I try to explain that when you're analysing a text in a reading class, the same basic skills are transferable into IELTS Task 2, writing like an opinion essay as well. So trying to interlink. And then, for example, when I do IELTS listening, trying to... Sometimes it's... they don't perceive the relevance. Like the fourth section in the listening paper, I basically say, well, this is a university lecture.
I mean, what you're actually talking about is actually rather sophisticated, because it's to do with the whole area of study skills and survival in that regard. And in order to an IELTS will measure that as best it can, obviously.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But in order to get from here to there, do you use dedicated IELTS publications, or do you do, right?
Yes.
Give me a title of a
well, for example, the Cambridge IELTS test books, which come in the purple and the black format.
Right.
And there's a large number, Insight into IELTS, Foundation IELTS, very large number. What IELTS course books tend to do, which is different from FCE or CAE, they obviously the exam is going to be the same for everybody, but they sort of modify the task. Yeah. So in a way, it's if someone is aiming to get an IELTS 5 or 5.5, a certain course book will teach students to recognise a depth of information which is going to get them a certain, say maybe they're going to get 15 out of 40, which might be a 5, from the same task. So it's an example of modifying the input, not modifying the task. Okay. Because another course book might be aimed at getting 6.5 or a 7, a more advanced course book.
Yes.
And so it's actually teaching the student to recognise more depth,
Yes.
especially in reading, for example,
Yes.
in the same text.
Right. Okay.
This is less relevant obviously in IELTS listening, because the listening is very much black and white.
It's real world stuff.
Well, it is real world, yes, but it's real world with an academic focus.
Okay.